Making headlines this hour. The Parliament passes legislative amendment to implement a generational tobacco ban. Defense Minister reveals that the government is in the process of adding 10 more vessels to its sea ambulance fleet. And Home Minister says that the government has introduced stringent legal measures to prevent children from being prohibiting the sale, purchase and use of tobacco products. Tobacco Control Act, moved by ruling party lawmaker Ali Ashraq, was reviewed by a 7-member temporary committee which had recommended only minor changes. The amendment to implement the historic generational ban was backed by 63 lawmakers out of the 65 who voted during Tuesday's sitting. The amendment, if ratified by President Dr. Muiz, will see the new legislation come into force from the 1st of November. The amendment, developed in consultation with the Cabinet, targets individuals born from the 1st of January 2007 onwards, extending the prohibition to future generations. Approximately 30% of the current population falls within this age group, a demographic significant that President Dr. Muiz had highlighted as central to the measure. He said the rationale for the ban is firmly rooted in public health concerns, with the potential to significantly improve national well-being by preventing a substantial portion of the population from adopting tobacco use. The legislative amendment, once in effect, would mandate sellers of tobacco products to verify the age of customers through an official identification. Sellers will be penalized for any violations. The government has been taking landmark steps against tobacco use. One of the biggest measures was to increase the duty on imported cigarettes and the nationwide ban on use and sale of vape products. The new amendment would ban the import and use of rolling tobacco machines and related items. It will also give police the authority to confiscate vape products and electronic cigarettes. The Parliament approves the appointment of Musa Rilwan as the newest member of the Maldives Broadcasting Commission, or Broadcom, following the resignation of the Commissioner's Deputy Chief Muhammad Fazeen. President Dr. Muhammad Muiz had handpicked 10 candidates out of all the applicants and forwarded them for Parliament approval. The Parliamentary Independent Institutions Committee had interviewed all 10 candidates and shortlisted 5 who had scored above 75% marks during the interview stage. Musa Rilwan, who had scored the 4th highest, was picked by the Parliament over the 3 who were above him on the committee's list. Musa Rilwan was unanimously approved, with 70 lawmakers voting in favor during Tuesday's Parliament sitting. Musa Rilwan has continued to serve Television Maldives, or TVM, both as a presenter and a producer for many years. He has also worked as a public relations officer in various government ministries. Parliament, meanwhile, is reviewing nominations forwarded by the President to fill the other vacant membership position on Broadcom. Minister of Defense Mohammad Ghassan Mamoon reveals that the government is in the process of adding 10 more vessels to its sea ambulance fleet. Responding to questions by lawmakers in Parliament last week, Minister Ghassan said the sea ambulance service is given special priority by the Maldives National Defense Force, or MNDF, and continues to respond to requests across the country. However, the ministry noted that the MNDF currently does not possess enough vessels to cover the entire country, leading to delays. In addition to the round-the-clock sea ambulance service, the government last year had launched the country's first ever air ambulance service. In its first year, over 900 patients have been evacuated across over more than 700 flights. Minister of Homeland Security and Technology Ali Hossain says that the government has introduced stringent legal measures aimed at preventing children from being drawn into criminal environments, marking a significant shift in national policy. He confirmed that recent legislative amendments now classify such exposure as a prosecutable offense, warning that offenders will face arrest and legal action. Speaking at the AHA Forum, Minister Ihusan revealed that approximately 400 children currently live in criminal environments, with another 1,000 at risk of entering them. Without decisive intervention, he cautioned many could end up incarcerated or involved in serious crimes. To counter these risks, the government is developing Hope Island, a dedicated rehabilitation facility designed to reintegrate affected minors into society. The facility, Minister Ihusan stated, will provide structured programs aimed at guiding vulnerable children towards stability and personal growth. In the interim, various intervention strategies are already underway. Authorities have launched specialized programs targeting children entrenched in criminal environments, including psychosocial initiatives designed to offer essential support. At the same time, he said, efforts are focused on training personnel equipped to deliver tailored psychological treatments. Ensuring long-term success, Minister Ihusan elaborated, requires tackling deeper societal factors that contribute to juvenile crime. Housing shortages, he noted, leave many families in precarious living conditions, increasing children's exposure to crime. Another pressing concern, he noted, is the misuse of legal protections originally intended to safeguard minors, an issue the government seeks to address. Previously, exposing children to criminal settings was not recognized as a criminal act. Under the new legal framework, the minister noted that authorities are empowered to take decisive action. Those found facilitating such exposure, Ihusan asserted, will face arrest, prosecution, and full legal penalties. In a parallel policy adjustment, the government has lowered the age of criminal responsibility to 14 years for criminal cases, a move Minister Ihusan described as pivotal in efforts to steer children away from crime and toward rehabilitation. Attorney General Ahmad Usham warns private contractors, saying that the government will terminate contracts of islands leased for various development projects for repeated contract violations. During the AHA Forum, a platform created to directly respond to public queries, the Attorney General faced questions over the government's recent decision to revoke the lease of Minavaru and Uddu Island in Nuna Atoll, citing breaches of the agreements by Sun Travel and Tours. He explained that under the agreement, both islands were designated for agricultural activities and value-added processing, with the expectation that goods would be produced and marketed through value addition. Yet, the government, during multiple monitoring visits, found no evidence of such production or processing, a clear violation of the lease terms. Explaining the matter, he said that the government had decided not to renew the lease of Uddu after the 25-year lease period expired, while the Minavaru lease was revoked as the developer had not been honoring the terms of the country. In addition to these two islands, the Attorney General said there are several other islands and lagoons leased for development where no progress has been made in accordance with the agreement. After reviewing these contracts, the lease of such islands and lagoons where work is not underway will be revoked, he warned. The Minavaru lease, granted for a 21-year term, took effect on the 6th of February 2010. Sun Travels, the leasee, is affiliated with Ahmad Siam Mohammed, a businessman and member of parliament for Midu. Concerns over non-compliance prompted repeated warnings from the ministry. The ministry said Sun Travels was given 30 days on the 19th of March to address the violations and bring its operations in line with the stipulated terms. The deadline passed without corrective action. In response, the government moved to reclaim the island, formally notifying the company of the lease termination on the 5th of May. The Ministry of Higher Education, Labor and Skills Development announces that applications are now open for a scholarship program funded by the Chinese government, providing 39 fully funded postgraduate opportunities for Maldivian public sector employees. The initiative aims to support academic and professional development, with 14 doctoral and 25 master's degree scholarships available. These scholarships, funded entirely by the Chinese government, provide comprehensive financial support. According to the ministry, tuition, on-campus accommodation, a monthly stipend, a resettlement allowance, medical insurance, and round-trip airfare are included. It added that awardees will have the opportunity to specialize in various academic disciplines. Candidates must be employed within the Maldivian public sector and demonstrate a minimum of 3 years relevant work experience. Applicants must also be under the age of 45 by September 2025 and meet any additional requirements set by their chosen university. The ministry stated that applications must be submitted via the ministry's online portal, my.edu.egov.mv, no later than 2 p.m. on the 15th of May. Comprehensive details regarding submission requirements are available on the ministry's website and have been officially recorded in the Government Gazette. The ministry has also announced how existing student loans affect eligibility. Individuals who have secured a student loan and remain in good standing with repayments are permitted to apply, as are those selected for a student loan scheme who have not yet signed a formal agreement. However, candidates who receive a scholarship under this program must forfeit any student loan opportunity. Those already nominated for a separate scholarship program are likewise ineligible for consideration. The Ministry of Social and Family Development unveils a specialized support program designed to assist parents of children with disabilities. Developed in collaboration with the non-governmental organization Mums Aid, the initiative aims to create a structured platform for parents to engage in meaningful discussions, exchange experiences, and navigate the challenges of caregiving. At the center of the program is a 6-week support group designed to foster connections among parents. The ministry notes that participants will have the opportunity to share insights and offer mutual support. Group sessions will focus on effective parenting strategies, methods for overcoming difficulties, and approaches to emotional and social reinforcement. Ministry officials highlight that the initiative is intended to reduce feelings of isolation while equipping parents with essential resources. Social and Family Development Minister Dr. Aishat Shiham stated that the program's framework was shaped by direct engagement with parents of children with disabilities. Many of these conversations took place through the ministry's Halukihine initiative during visits to the Hia Tower area in Hulumale. She explained where parents frequently cited the need for stronger support networks. According to the ministry, insights gathered through interactions with parents reinforced the importance of creating structured avenues for them to connect and learn from one another. The program, it said, is intended to cultivate a community where families feel supported and empowered, offering them the opportunity to share experiences and strategies in a collaborative environment. The initiative will consist of small group sessions, with each group comprising 10 parents. A luxury resort under development in the Maldives pledges to plant 1.4 million trees as part of a national environmental program and will establish a 6.5 megawatt solar farm to generate 1/3 of its energy needs. The commitments were formalized in an agreement signed by Royal Resorts, a subsidiary of Qatar-based Estithmar Holdings, and the developer of Rosewood Ranfaru, with the Ministry of Tourism and Environment. Slated to open in 2027, the resort will mark Hong Kong-based Rosewood Hotels and Resorts' first venture in the Maldives. The agreement positions the resort as a key participant in the 5 million tree planting program and underscores its alignment with the Maldives' renewable energy policy. Developed on reclaimed land within a lagoon in Male Atoll, Rosewood Ranfanu has committed to these sustainability goals during an official visit by Tourism and Environment Minister Tariq Ibrahim. During the signing ceremony, Minister Tariq represented the government while Project Director Hussein Ali Sinan signed on behalf of the contractor overseeing the resort's construction. As part of his visit, the minister formally launched the resort's tree planting initiative, reinforcing the government's call for resort developers to integrate sustainable practices into their projects. forests. With 1.4 million trees set to be planted as part of the resort's development, the initiative is expected to play a significant role in the broader push for environmental conservation. Minister Toreg highlighted the critical role of resorts in greening reclaimed islands, improving waste management, and integrating renewable energy solutions, measures that align closely with the Maldives' long-term sustainability agenda. The resort's renewable energy commitment is equally ambitious. A solar farm capable of generating 33% of the resort's electricity is central to its clean energy strategy, reinforcing the government's focus on reducing dependency on traditional energy sources. During remarks following the signing, Minister Toreg urged resort developers to embrace sustainability efforts, calling for stronger participation in environmental programs that support the Maldives' broader conservation efforts. The call comes as the ministry accelerates plans to plant 5.2 million trees nationwide, with more than 500,000 trees already planted this year and a target of 2 million set for completion by 2025. Since assuming office, Minister Toreg has made frequent visits to resort developments, aiming to expedite openings and address construction challenges. The government has placed particular emphasis on accelerating resort launches, positioning the operationalization of the unlaunched properties as a top priority in its tourism development strategy. An update on business. Stocks in Northeast Asia mostly rose as a U.S.-China deal to temporarily cut tariffs sparked optimism about a possible de-escalation in a global trade war. China's Shanghai Composite or SSE index opened up 16.99 points at 3,386.23. Japan's Nikkei share average jumped to the highest in almost 3 months, surging as much as 2.3% shortly after the open. In South Korea, the benchmark Korea Composite Stock Price Index or KOSPI started the day almost unchanged from the previous close. It ended May 12 more than 1% higher after the US and China concluded their first round of talks. Under the truce announced on Monday, the U.S. will cut extra tariffs it imposed on Chinese imports last month to 30% from 145% for the next 3 months, while Chinese duties on U.S. imports will fall from 10% from 125%. Taking a look at world events, U.S. President Donald Trump arrives in Riyadh, the first leg in his 4-day visit to the region, and was welcomed by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The Gulf trip, which will also include Qatar and the United Arab Emirates, is expected to focus more on economic deals than security crisis, sources told Reuters. The United States, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE are expected to announce investments that could run into the trillions. Saudi Arabia already committed in January to $600 billion in investments in the United States over the next 4 years, but Trump has said he will ask for a full trillion. Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Marco Rubio and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth are traveling with the president. Trump was greeted by Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman upon his arrival in Riyadh. Trump's second foreign trip since returning to the presidency, his first was to Rome for Pope Francis' funeral, comes at a time of geopolitical tensions. But Trump's trip will focus more on economic deals than security crisis, ranging from the war in Gaza to the threat of escalation over Iran's nuclear program. His second and third stops in Qatar and the United Arab Emirates are similarly expected to focus on economic issues. Trump has also said he may travel on the 15th of May to Turkey for potential face-to-face talks between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Russia's war in Ukraine. An insight into sports. Newly restored and colorized footage of the first ever Formula One race is released to mark the sport's 75th anniversary. The footage of the 1950 British Grand Prix, held exactly 75 years ago to the day, had been brought to life with a combination of manual painting techniques, advanced AI software, reference imagery, and state-of-the-art restoration and colorization, so fans can witness a moment in history. The 1950 British Grand Prix took place at Silverstone and featured iconic drivers including Argentina's five-time champion Juan Manuel Fangio. Among the 100,000 people in attendance were King George VI and Queen Elizabeth and their daughter, the future Queen, Princess Elizabeth. The race, won by Italy's Giuseppe Nino Farina in an Alfa Romeo, was the first ever held officially as part of the Formula One World Championship, part of a 7-race series at the time. This year's edition on the 6th of July will be the 59th British Grand Prix held at the iconic Silverstone circuit. Now on to technology. After the space race and AI race came the humanoid robot race. At the forefront is Shanghai startup Agabot, where dozens of humanoid robots learn how to fold a t-shirt, make a sandwich, and open doors on repeat for 17 hours a day. At its warehouse, the goal is to generate reams of data that train robots how to navigate the human world. The importance of humanoid development was underscored by Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit to Agabot's facility in Shanghai last month, where he joked that perhaps the machines could play in a football team. Chinese authorities have allocated $20 billion to the sector over the past year, and Beijing is establishing a 1 trillion yuan or $137 billion fund to support startups in areas such as AI and robotics, official announcements show. Robotics startup Unitree recently expanded into a 10,000 square meter facility and said that the Hangzhou municipal government also provided housing subsidies for their tech talent. The sector has seen an explosion of new firms. In 2024, 31 Chinese companies unveiled 36 competing humanoid models versus 8 by U.S. companies, according to Morgan Stanley. Much of China's edge lies in its domination of the hardware that makes up a humanoid. The country is capable of making up to 90% of humanoid components, lowering barriers to entry, according to analysts and startups. As a result, according to Morgan Stanley, China now accounts for the majority of manufacturers working on such projects globally and dominates the supply chain. Some Chinese startups are selling robots as cheaply as 100,000 yuan or $13,622. Some analysts predict that humanoids could follow the trajectory of EVs, whose costs tumbled dramatically over the past decade as manufacturers rushed in and government subsidies spurred widespread adoption among the Chinese public. Yao predicted the cost of Agabot humanoids will halve within 5 years. The Chinese government didn't respond to questions about its role in supporting the development of humanoid robots. Despite concerns about the impact on jobs, Beijing sees the technology as key to plug labor shortages in areas such as elderly care, where demand is increasing as China's 1.4 billion population ages. China's government published a national elderly care plan in December that encouraged integration of robotics and AI. Soon after, tech giant Ant Group announced the creation of new subsidiary Ant Lingbo Technology, whose humanoid robots will focus on elderly care, among other areas. That's all the news we have for today. We'll be back with any further updates. Until then, I'm Abdullah Ahil from PSM News.